Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Thank you again for joining us tonight on our Pine Hills Community Council monthly meeting, and also our Pine Hills Community Council State of the Council address. So I want to welcome you here tonight. We can open up with prayer and pledge. Pastor Joey Boston, who is one of our Pine Hills Community Council board members, and would just so gracious open us up in prayer, and then from there, since you have the microphone, go ahead and take us to the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pastor Boston.
Well, Lord, we thank you for being so great and so mighty and so awesome. And even in this time that we meet for the community that we live in, the community that we serve, Lord, I pray, God, that everything that we do and everything that we say, God, that you will give us insight, God, and that we do it be pleasing unto you. Help us in every decision. Help us in everything, God, that comes to the forefront, even on tonight. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Amen.
Well, let us pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the
of the
flag
United States
of the United States of
and to the
America
republic
and to
for which it
the republic
stands,
for which
one nation,
stands
under
one
God,
nation, under
divisible,
God,
with liberty
indivisible,
and justice
liberty
for all.
and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. Noah Martin.
Yes.
Would you monitor the Facebook page and see if there's any comments coming in, please?
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and again, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. A few of y'all probably just joined in. I appreciate you joining in tonight for this event, for our community meeting and for our council state of the address. Before we go any further, I would like to recognize the board members that are here. As you hear board members, for those that's watching on Facebook and that those that's in the audience, please introduce yourself. We have our first Vice President. I'm Patricia Rump. I'm your president of the Pine Hills Community Council, for those that don't know. And so for Noah Martin, he's our first Vice President. Noah, can you wave at the audience and the Facebook viewers?
Let me just say hi. I lost my video. My camera stopped working when I came inside. So that's my picture there with the tie, all smartly dressed with my red tie.
Thank you, Noah. And we have our second Vice President, Mr. Kenneth Dwyer. Kenneth, can you wave at the audience? Okay, Kenneth is there.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth. We have Secretary, I see Bettina Bush. Bettina, can you wave at the audience? Thank you, Bettina. I'm not sure if Miss Evangeline is on the line. Miss Richardson? Not yet, okay, he's not here. And we have our trustees. We have Ms. Sandra Fatney Hall, who's a trustee and our past president. Ms. Sandra?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. And we have Mr. Dennis Hall is a trustee.
Yes. He's there.
Yes, good evening and welcome, welcome.
Thank you. We have Ms. Myra Johnson as a trustee.
She is not here right at the moment, but she sends best regards, of course.
Thank you. And of course, Mr. Pastor Joey Boston, you all just heard from here. He's also is a trustee.
Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And we have on with us also our partners is Ms. Rosalind Clouden. She is the president of the Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood. And you will hear us mention that a lot about the Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood. Ms. Rosalind Clouden, thank you for being here tonight. And Samuel Weekly, he is the executive director of our Pine Hills Neighborhood Improvement District. I don't think he's here. He says that he may not be here tonight. So he's not here. And then again, we have elected officials on the line. Mr. Dan Richburg say, please let him in. Okay. I don't see anybody trying to get in. Hold on for a second. Gallus, there he is. Two people view who's waiting to get in. Oh, so it's over here. My bad. There we go. I just let them in. Okay, thank you, machine.
To the measure that There is no
Okay, someone need to mute their phone.
continuing.
Okay, and again, we have any political officials here. We already recognize Ms. Charlene from the Representative Brace's office and Ms. Landry from Orange County Tax Collector Office. Is any other elected official being represented or here on the line tonight? Okay. So no one else is here, that we'll continue to move forward. Again, make sure that your calls are muted. So again, thank you tonight for being here for this event. And as we go forward and doing what we do, I'm trying to do this and people are coming in. So Miss Peggy just came in. She is from, she's from the Congressman Val Demings' office. She's signing in. We'll come back to her. So this evening is the Pine Hills Community Council first State of the Pine Hills Community Council address. And I want to say in 2019, I had the honor to be accepting the president of the Pine Hills Community Council. And when I accept that responsibility as the Pine Hills Community Council, I pledged and took an oath. And the oath that I pledged to say that I pledged to do my utmost to faithfully represent the needs and the opportunity of the Pine Hills community. And I can say that as president of this Pine Hills Community Council for year 2020, I have governed myself while handling the affairs of the council to that pledge. And so tonight, I want to move forward, and on behalf of the board members that's here and the Pine Hills community, I'm proud to stand here and to give you all some updates of the accomplishment that the things that the Pine Hills Community Council has done in the last couple of years. So before I do that, let me do this right here. I learned something new today. I'm gonna do this, share the screen. I have a screen I want to share. And I want to go back to the top. Okay, there we go. This is who we are. Welcome to the Pine Hills Community Council State of the Council address. We're going to talk about the past, present, and future of the Pine Hills Community Council. And then once we get there, but first let's talk about who we are as a council. And who we are as a council is that we are people that are pursuing the mission of the Pine Hills Community Council. And we are a 501c4 nonprofit organization that invests our efforts directly in our community. And we promote its interests at the county, state, and national level to assure that the continued vitality of a unique, family-friendly place to live, work, and play. So that is who we are. So now that we know who we are, let's find out how we got here. So I'm going to ask Ms. Bettina Bush to come on right now and talk about how the Pine Hills Community Council got started and how we got here. And who was the players back when the Pine Hills Community Council started up? Ms. Bettina, thank you.
Welcome, everybody. My family did not arrive in Pine Hills till the 80s, but we have access to some of the history and access to the previous newspaper. And we have come up with some things that some of you may know. Pine Hills is a vision of entrepreneur and a financier named Gordon Barnett. Barnett, of course, is what our park is named after. He was a visionary, and he actually, in September of 1945, he bought 2,100 acres, which were the hills to the west of Orlando. And that 2,100 acres is amazing. He had the vision to move forward so that on December 14th of 1952, not quite 10 years later, he opened ground with the first subdivision, which is the first homes right off of Pine Hills Road as you, and West Colonial. There were about 300 homes that were completed and planned for, and they actually had an official opening then. The next year after that, they built a drive-in theater across the street that later became a lumber yard and is now a church. So we go back to and a time when we were the first suburb, the first layer after the city of Orlando. We were a working class area. And as he built out the first phase of Pine Hills and went into the Robbinswood area and built that, he also built an 18-hole golf course. Some of you might remember that who were here before I was. It was no longer functioning in the 80s, but it was an 18-hole golf course, and it was people who bought their homes around it. They had even had a restaurant and a clubhouse, and they were able to go there and for recreation. The interesting thing about Pine Hills that even twice in the 50s and the 1960s, excuse me, the people went to ballot to incorporate, and both times it was turned down. So the attempt to become an official city and become incorporated was not a popular idea at the time. They had some to the west of the city. They also had some sewage issues, and it was considered rural. So as the Pine Hills area grew up, that area around Lake Lawn, in the 1970s, they put in what's called the connector. It's a pipeline that goes from Lake Orlando and ends up at Horseshoe and Crooked Lake, west of Hiawassee, to help with some of the drainage. And they started giving land for the park, which we eventually become Barnett Park. But the one thing I want to, as they grew and developed, and because they didn't want to become incorporated, they had needs. And so, whenever they had a need, and there was all a volunteer, originally it was a volunteer fire department, the empty spot at West Colonial and Pine Hills Road used to be the volunteer fire station. It was at one time when they left it, Pine Hills, it was given to Pine Hills Community Council for $10 a year for a 20-year lease when they left it. But unfortunately, a car went through the front, a delivery car went through the front, and the building was not safe, deemed not safe, and was torn down. But as that all occurred, I wanted you to know that the can-do nature of the people in Pine Hills, they were families, young families. So one of the first thing they did is Gordon Barnett gave them property to build a Boys and Girls Club. And that Boys and Girls Club, of course, is on Hernandez. The current building standing right now is in the same location that the original building was. The land was given to the people, but the people had to actually build it themselves. So they went door to door and collected funds and were able to put up the Boys and Girls Club. It was the largest one in the area. And I want you to tell you one other thing. Across from the Catholic Church, where the YMCA, there was no YMCA in Pine Hills, but they had a girls club. Thousands of girls went to that girls club. They played softball. They had gymnastics. But the youth of Pine Hills had, whenever they had a need, there was a place for them to go. The Robbinswood, where the Pine Hills Community Center was the old Robbinswood Recreation Center. They had an Olympic-sized swimming pool there, and that's where the community would, there was a membership situation. If you were a member there, you could go and swim. and it was a recreation
but-
area. So I want to, as they,
So how did you become, how did they become Pine Hills Community Council? How was they incorporated to become Pine Hills Community
well,
Council?
eventually they got large enough, so they needed to have some, it happened, I suspect, after the last attempt to incorporate failed. And it was the Public Affairs Committee of the Garden Club. It was actually women who put it together. The Garden Club, it still exists.
Okay.
There are several people who are still living in the area around the Pine Hills Community Center that that meet for the Garden Club. But they're the ones
So
who
this goes back
incorporated
about 50.
in 72.
So this goes back since 1972. The Pine Hills Community Council has been in existence,
That's correct.
and it started with a group of volunteers, just as we still volunteers now. Okay, but
Right.
give us two of the big projects that the council did back then.
In the 70s?
One big, yes.
I'm not,
One was the
there's not much in terms of specific projects in the history books.
Okay,
All I know is that they were functioning, and when I came in the 80s, it had gone underground for about 10 years.
okay,
So
there we go.
They had a local, what happened is that they had a local paper, and the paper in the 70s, and the paper, the Ryder family retired, and for 10 to 15 years, there was no local paper until ours came on in the 80s. And during that time, a lot of not so good things happened to Pine Hills. They 6-laned the highway. They closed the golf course. There just a lot of things were happening that, in terms of zoning, that was not really good for us. And in the 1990s is when I got involved. Thule Phillips, who was a realtor, a longtime resident of Pine Hills, she got it started to go, and Mont Thurston, who was the manager of the bank there. I'm
I'm gonna pick it up from here then. So that's how you say.
Okay, but let me just say one other thing I've noticed
Okay.
in the transition.
Okay,
You noticed that I said that she was a realtor and he was the manager at SunTrust.
okay,
So we've had, there was a time when the leaders of the community were the people who were involved with the businesses.
okay.
And it's getting more difficult and as it became more difficult to engage the business community is when the council I feel had some issues. So it started up again in the 90s, and that big project was Sunland. The first big project was we were able to get the 5-story Sunland Hospital torn down for they appropriated $2 million.
Okay, Bettina, I'm gonna pick it up from here. So thank you, because I want them to know the history of the council, to understand how it got started about 50 years ago. And there was moving, they're doing things, there was all volunteers, such as what the council is now, is all volunteers. So
yeah, they wanted a civic. Do you notice that it was a 104?
Right.
It was
Bettina, I'm gonna pick it up from here.
04.
I'm gonna pick it up from here. Thank you. Thanks, Bettina, because we're gonna pick it up from here. Yeah, it's still the same thing. We still is a 501c4 civic nonprofit civic organization. So that is who we are, and we still a 501c4 civic nonprofit organization that volunteer in the community. And so I'm proud to say that the council, despite its limited resources, we have fundamentally stayed on focus on our core mission. And together, the council board of directors have leveraged our strength and addressed challenges. And we have strived to improve the quality of life in the community. So In 2004, we're gonna move forward. In 2004, the Pine Hills Community Council was enabling, and they wrote an enabling grant. And that grant requested for the formation of the current Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood. The Pine Hills Community Council in 2004 wrote a grant, and that grant was for the formation of the current Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood. And they received back then $180,000 in grant dollars. And that $100,000 in grant dollars was for the redevelopment purposes. In addition to the redevelopment purpose, from that 2004, the Pine Hills Community Council and Orange County government commissioned the Pine Hills Land Analysis and Strategic Plan. And that plan was to outline existing land use and socioeconomic patterns and set forth a vision for the revitalization of the community. A group of stakeholders came together, sat around the table with the grant dollars. After the grant dollars brought in a consultant to sit down with the stakeholders in the Pine Hills community to write together a plan to outline the existing land use and the socioeconomic pattern for the Pine Hills community. And that was in 2004. So moving forward to 2010, from the data that was gathered, if you want to know more about that, Pine Hills Community Council, Pine Hills site analysis and recommendation from that grant dollars, if you just Google Pine Hills site analysis and recommendation, and you'll learn more about that, the plan that's outlined. So moving forward in 2010, then from the data that was collected from the land use and the socioeconomic pattern, again, a grant dollar was received, Pine Hills Community Council, again, received more grant dollars. And from that, they was able to formulate the Pine Hills Business Task Force, which led to the formation of the Pine Hills Neighborhood Improvement District, which laid out a development and a market analysis of the Pine Hills community to determine if we could sustain a town center. From that market analysis and the economic development, they looked at the resident in the community, and they looked at the market in the community to determine if we could sustain a town center. Again, a group of us came together. I was around then. This is the stakeholder meeting back in 2010. And we was around the table, gathering information to determine the economic development and the market analysis of the Pine Hills community. So if you want to know more about that, you just Google economic development and market analysis. So the Pine Hills Community Council has had a vision for years of how they want the Pine Hills area to look. They were looking at a town center, and the town center is to be built within a 1 mile radius at the intersection of Pine Hills and Silver Star. And based on what the consultants came up, we was looking back then in 2010 of an urban look of the Pine Hills area. The intersection of Pine Hills and the Silver Star, we're looking at an urban development of that area. So the councilors had a vision along with the Orange County government, along with the Pine Hills Neighborhood Improvement District, and along with the Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood, of how we want this Pine Hills area to look. So moving forward, as the Pine Hills area continued to grow and things began to come into the neighborhood, there was a growing concern about the making sure that we preserve Silver Star and Pine Hills so that as development came into the area, that it would be looking like what we want to look like. So, but we saw a trend coming into Pine Hills area. The Pine Hills Neighborhood Improvement District focused primarily on the businesses along Silver Star and Pine Hills Road. They meet the first Wednesday of every month. As a matter of fact, they will be meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock. That's the Pine Hills Neighborhood Improvement District. And the Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood meet the second Tuesday. So anyway, as we begin to put our plans together, we saw a trend coming in. So again, with the Orange County government, we approached them. And thanks to Orange County government, they established what they call an overlay. And the overlay is a special planning tool that can be used to restrict certain new businesses from coming in a specific area. So we wanted to restrict the type of business that came along that area that we had designated for the town center area, so that because we saw a trend coming in. And this is the trend that we saw that was beginning to build in the Pine Hills area. We saw car title companies coming. So the overlay restricted certain businesses from coming in. And this is what the government did. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is what the government did. Our local government, thanks to our mayor and those that was back there. It wasn't Mayor Denman. Yes, it was. But anyway, it was our local government. And what it did was the division created a zoning overlay district to be known as the Pine Hills Neighborhood Improvement District Overlay Zone, for the purpose of prohibiting certain non-residential use that may adversely impact the development and the redevelopment of North Pine Hills and Silver Star Road. So we want to make sure that we had enough car loan titles in Pine Hills. We had enough check cashings. We had enough pawn shops and bail bondsmen. Nothing against those areas, but we want to attract different type of businesses for a town center. We also, the council also heard an outcry from the community when there was a liquor store that was built right on the side of Evans High School. And so we thankful with the Orange County government, we approached them at the same overlay. And so now there is a distance, they put in an ordinance where there must be a certain amount of distance between a business of sell solely alcohol next to a religious facility or a school. So this is some of the things that the council working and the government, I keep saying government, the Orange County government approved this overlay back in 2018. So from 2004 to 2010, the council has been involved in, along with the Orange County government and along with NID in the Safe Neighborhood, as to fighting to preserve the look of the Pine Hills community. So that's what we've been working on and moving forward. We have constantly been attending different meetings to make sure that we preserve the look of the Pine Hills community. This is us at many of the town hall meetings, Board of County Commissioner meeting, Planning and Zoning Committee meeting, community meetings, speaking and talking on behalf of the residents in the Pine Hills community. We're supporting new development for senior housing. If you notice on Silver Star Road, behind the Hardy Shopping Center, there's construction going on. That is a state-of-the-art senior facility is going to be coming up in that area. The council, Bettina, I, and Sandra, we was going to all those community meetings, making sure that what comes in the Pine Hills area reflects what we want it to look like. We were just recently last week at a grand opening for a new senior facility off of Pine Hills, the Emerald Villas, right there on the corner of Balco and Emerald Villas on Pine Hills Road. A beautiful state-of-the-art senior facilities there. Granite tops, wash and dryer, a beautiful facility. So we are focusing our attention to make sure that Pine Hills will be a place that we all will be proud to live, work, and play. So that's where we are as far as staying involved in the community. The council is working hand in hand with the community. So that's the past of what things we have worked on in the community. We've gone to numerous meetings. So moving forward, bringing us to 2020. This is where we are in 2020. We started off in 2020, the council with our 2020 installation of officers. You see that we're taking oath, pledging that we will faithfully represent the needs and opportunity of the Pine Hills community. We are so fortunate to have officiating our installation service, one of our Ninth Circuit local judges, Judge Laurent. She is a Ninth Circuit judge here in Orange County, but she also is a resident of the Pine Hills community. And she also is a graduate of Evans High School, which you can see that great things in the past in Pine Hills, great things are still happening in the present of Pine Hills. So we took the oath of office there, and from that point on, the team of us hit the ground running in 2020. Our first initiative that we took on in 2020, there was an outcry from the residents in the Pine Hills area concerned about the safety, the public safety in the Pine Hills area. And the outcry was that they noticed that the community, the safety and environment was at stake due to so many streetlights out in the Pine Hills area. So the council in November in 2019 took on a streetlight initiative. And we worked on that from November of 2019 into February of 2020. And what we did was we approached, at that time, these are Duke Energy lights, and we approached Duke Energy about the outage in our community. You can see here, this is before January of 2020. This is Silver Star Road between Hiwassee and Evans High School. This is what Silver Star Road looked like. After we contacted Duke Energy and did a survey of all the lights out, and Duke Energy came and repaired the lights, this is what it looks like. Remarkable difference in day and night. This is how dark it was in our community. And there's some areas that's still dark, but we worked to get these lights on. Not only we was concerned about the safety for a couple of reasons. This is Silver Star, like I said. Certain time of the year, it's dark for the school students, Evans High School students, to be walking down Silver Star Road in the dark, early in the morning, going to school, coming from different activities, a band or football games. It was dark for them to walk down this road. What we also noticed that when we was doing the survey of this area, there was a couple of bus stops along Silver Star. And the ridership of the bus ridership will be dropped off in the dark. So we was concerned about their safety. So that's the first initiative that the Pine Hills Community Council attacked or addressed in 2020, safety first. And so we moved on to that, but after we tackled the safety, then 2020, everybody knows what 2020 brought in. It's the census. That was dollars that was on the table for our Pine Hills community. And we know that the Pine Hills community has been one of the hot spots zones, so to speak, according to the census, or the hard to count area. So the council, after they got involved in the 2020 census, and to make sure that we was properly counted, that we didn't leave any dollars on the table, make sure that we had enough, we didn't leave any dollars on the table. So what we did at one of our community meetings, this is before COVID, pre-COVID, we were meeting in person. We meet every first Tuesday of each month in person from 6:30 to 8. So this is our either January or February meeting. And we brought in someone from the census to educate us in the Pine Hills community about the importance of the census and why we need to be counted, so we don't leave any federal dollars on the table. And from that, then we partnered with our Orange County government. The council partnered with Orange County government, and we hit the ground running. Our mayor and the Board of County Commissioner knew how important it was that we get counted. So the mayor established a Orange County 2020 complete count team. This is part of the Orange County complete count team that we worked with in the Pine Hills community. This is Orange County staff and some volunteers. We hit the ground running. This is the Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood I talked about. This is Ms. Rose Cloud, and some of the Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood staff came out. This is us. This is the Pine Hills Community Council. This is Sam Weekly with the Pine Hills NID. Again, we all work together. 3 of us work together. And we work as a team, the safety council, the safe neighborhood, the NID, and the council. We work together as a team. So anyway, we hit the ground running, knocking on doors in areas of the Pine Hills community to make sure that they was aware the census is important to us. It determines our schools, our roads, and the council hit the ground running. So you can see that the council is a team to be a part of. And we want you to join the council and help us continue the work of what we are doing in the Pine Hill Community Council. So we move on from there, and after we was hitting the ground running with the council and was concerned about the lights, it was concerned about the census, the Pine Hills Community Council also partnered with a couple of schools in the community. There's several schools that put on a service day. Robbinswood Middle School has what they call an Archer Day. Every year they have a cleanup committee because they take pride in their community and they want to fight against litter in the community. So the council partnered with 2 of the schools in the area. The council partnered with, go back, oh yeah, this is here. The council partnered with Archer Service Day, Robbinswood Community Cleanup, taking pride in our community. This is in earlier this year, before pre-COVID. This is Miss Rosemary. She is the president of the Robbinswood Neighborhood Association. So she spearheads this every year with Orange County government. These are kids from Robbinswood. Over 300 volunteers showed up this year. And we combed through a portion of the Robbinswood community one Saturday morning early, cleaning the area. These are things that the council get involved in. This is Myra, who is a part of the Pine Hills Community Council. She's also a board member of the Central Florida Foundation. You heard Ms. Sandra Fatney earlier address the Central Florida Foundation. These are some of her students that she mentored, and they were a part of the Robbinswood Cleanup Day. So the council partner, we get our hands out there and we get to work. We also partner with the Evans High School. This is Evans High School Service Day. This is the final day of the service day, so we're not out there working that day. This is the day of celebration of Evans High School community, one of our community partners. We was excited to be a partner with these schools, the council is, and also with Evans School, the Pine Hills Community Council every year gives a scholarship to a student that graduates from Evans High School. That student must reside in the Pine Hills area. We give $1,000 scholarship to one student. This year, we gave 2 students $500 scholarship to equal 1,000. And that's me, and that's our first Vice President, Mr. Noel Martin. This is why it's important that we want you to come on board and join the council so we can continue to support our students at these various schools. We would love to increase our scholarships. The student must have a 3.0 average. All of the students that has gone through the scholarship program has a 3.0, 3.5, 4.0, 4.5 scholarship, a GPA or above. So this is the thing that the Pine Hills Community Council is doing in the community. As you can see, we had rolled our sleeves up. The council was moving forward. We were doing great things in the community, and all of a sudden, COVID hit. COVID came and things changed as COVID hit. But this is, I want to show our last meeting, community meeting. This had to be our March community meeting before pre-COVID hit. These are some of the United Foundation students that's a part of the meeting, our monthly meeting. This is a meeting with, you heard Landry Roberson on the call, who represents Scott Randolph. He came in and talked to us about the real ID, that you must have that real ID. And by 2020, and the importance of the real ID. These are our community partners at all of our meetings, our sheriff department. We cannot overlook them. They have taken care of Pine Hills, and they're at all of our meetings, and we thank them for being to our meeting. So this is our last in-person meeting before pre-COVID. But you know, the good thing about the council, we had a vision. When we came into 2020, we had a vision for 2020. And our vision for 2020 was to position ourselves to expand our social media presence. So I'm proud to say that in taking over the president in 2020, we established a broader band of our social media presence. Within the first couple of months, we were able to launch several remote online communication medias. We got the website up and running. It's still a work in process, but we have a website up and running. We started a newsletter. If you're not getting our newsletter every month, please go to our website at pinehills.info. Sign up for our website. Sign up for our newsletters and start getting our newsletter every month. Great information. If you missed a couple of our newsletter, still go to our website and click on news, and all the newsletters are there for you to go through. We also able to launch Zoom, and we expanded our Facebook band. When we have these Zoom meetings and Facebook meetings, we host sometime up to 1,000 viewers. So I'm proud to say that we had a vision coming in 2020 to expand our social media. So when COVID hit, we were not caught behind the 8 ball. We was able to continue to operate, and thank God for that. And speaking of our Facebook, so since we've been on this expanding our social media, I'm happy to say, as a matter of fact, the council was key in hosting several virtual candidate forums. You know, in 2020, we had a big campaign going on, the state attorney's race and several other races going on. So because we were prepared, we were able to host several candidate forums to educate you as a voter and learn more about those people that want to receive your vote for to run for office. So we've done a lot. We're excited about what we've done. We are pleased of our progress. And even though we've had some good news, let me come back here and show you some of our outreach. This is our outreach with our partnership post-COVID. Even though COVID came, it did not slow us down. We stayed focused on our mission. We continue our community outreach. We continue to provide service and do what we can in the community. Some of our partners here, this is United Foundation food drive that Ms. Fatney talked about earlier, where they've served over 100,000 residents. We was a partner with them. This is the Experience Church, one of the churches in the Pine Hills area. We partnered with them. This is Ms. Flo Jones here, a Pine Hills Community Council member. And this is our YMCA on Haston. We partnered with them with the food drive. So we have our hands out there, and we're asking you to come alongside us so we can connect in the community. The council needs you, the community, and the community needs us, the council, so we can work together and get to the same goal together and make this community what we want it to look like. So, as I was saying, even though we've had some good times in the Pine Hills area, we still face some challenges. Once again, the Pine Hills Community Council of the Pine Hills community is in the spotlight. Pine Hills community has been in the spotlights for crime and gang violence, as if Pine Hills is the only one that has crimes. But I can tell you, as a 30-year criminal justice professional, crime does not just reside in one neighborhood, and it does not discriminate. And I think about an article that I recently read in Orlando Sentinel. An article was addressed to the editor, and it was talked about the policing efforts in Pine Hills requires a follow-through. This article was written by one of the Pine Hills young residents in the Pine Hills area, Mr. Jay Fortune, of the Pine Hills resident. And he wrote, he said, we must be very deliberate and intentional with the risk of criminalizing our own community. He goes on to say that the homicide rate has increased 22% in Orange County. He didn't say in Pine Hills. He says increased and 22% in Pine Hills. So singling out our neighborhood does not make other areas look safer. That's one of the things that the council has been doing, making sure that we keep this positive image in the Pine Hills. When things are positively happening in the Pine Hills community, we are reaching out to our media, such as Bettina and Bush and Company and the Pine Hills Press, doing a great job of making sure that information get out about the positive things happening in Pine Hills. We're calling the media. The media has interviewed Sandra Fadme many times about the food drive that's going out. We're aggressively making sure that our positive information get out there. Because so that's the thing that the council is doing, and we're asking that you would come on board. But you know what? I could imagine how Fortune feels like me, and hopefully that you would deep the trouble too by the negative characterization of our Pine Hills community. So as you can see, we are achieving tremendous things. We have a good momentum going in the Pine Hills community. The council has a good momentum going, a positive momentum going, and we're excited. And we're asking that you come on board and work alongside the Pine Hills Council so we continue to do things that we were doing. You know what, as post-COVID has hit us and we had to stop having our in-person meeting, we had to find a way to still somehow a way to become personal with our community. So one of the things that we did also this year is that we brought back Yard of the Month. We started late, but we knew we had to do something to continue to have hands-on and keep that personal relationship in the community. So we brought back Yard of the Month. This is our Yard of the Month in September off of Powers Drive. This is our Yard of the Month in Horseshoe Bend, beautiful yards. This is our Yard of the Month in November, PowerPoint subdivision. And I can tell you that as we approach each one of these residents, they had such a big smile on their face that they even know that someone is recognizing the effort that they're doing in the community. So the council is excited, and we ask that you would come on and join us. Again, I can't say enough to you that if you have not become a member of the Pine Hills Community Council, it's only $20 a year for an adult membership, $5 a year for students. You saw several students there. You could say, hey, I want to bless a couple of students. Let me sign up. Here's $20 or $50. Sign up, become a part of the Pine Hills Community Council. If you're a senior citizen, it's only $15 a year. Businesses is $50, excuse me. Agencies such as the Orange County Tax Collector, Scott Randolph and Orange County Tax Collector, that's an agency. So they're a part of the council. It's only $50 a year. Your organization, a business, just like Noah Martin has his real estate business, and Myra and these other ones here, businesses, is $100 a year. But you can see the money is well spent. It helps us with the scholarship dollars. It help us to help get the word out. It help pay for the social media platform. We are volunteers. We are your everyday taxi cab drivers, your retirees, your healthcare workers, your law enforcement, your nurses, your teachers, volunteers. So we don't take a salary. So we need your support. So I said all that. I'm gonna slow down. So all these things we've done is our community outreach, our new partners, and our increasing memberships, and our award, our student scholarship, and our recognition of Student of the Month, Yard of the Month. In fact, these have been keys to building our relationship with the community and the support services of our local, state, and federal government. These things that help us stay connected with the community and win the support of our local, state, and federal government. And on that point, I am so delighted to share with you tonight the announcement from the office of the Orange County Mayor and the Board of County Commissioners. They proclaimed today that Pine Hills Community Council, Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood, and Pine Hills NID community programs has demonstrated that Pine Hills is more than just a place to own a home, but a fusion of many cultures, making Orange County a great place to live, work, and visit. So the proclamation signed today, December the 1st, 2020, declaring that on December the 12th, 2020, as Pine Hills Reestablishment Day. Now we need a hand for that, people. That is good news that our local government and everybody recognize the effort of the Pine Hills Community Council, the Pine Hills Safe Neighborhood, and the Pine Hills NID. I want to give a special thanks to our Mayor Dimmons and the Board of County Commissioners for recognizing this. I also want to give a really, really special thanks to Commissioner Victoria B. Siplin for taking the lead to make this happen. So again, thank you, Commissioner Siplin, for taking the lead, for making this happen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, I said a lot. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Or what does the future of the Pine Hills Community Council look like? This is where we go from here, and this is what it looks like. During the years ahead, we intend to continue our virtual communication, which has been an enormous success, with literally thousands of followers now. We intend to continue to reinforce a positive community, and we will raise our voice against the contrary. We will continue to make the most of grant opportunities. We talked about earlier in 2004 and 2010, how we did have grant opportunities. It's been a long time. So we continue to make the effort for grant opportunities. We would take on a new approach to aggressively recruit members. This is what we have these meetings about, to aggressively recruit members and partnership to help us fulfill our mission and remain vigilant during this midst of the pandemic. And then we also want to increase our scholarship dollars so we'd be able to help more students. And I know that we can do this and more together. No matter where you come from or what your life experience has been, we share a common desire for a vibrant, thriving, and safe and healthy community. Our ability to pursue these goals is lifted up by the opportunities available to us. Where we live, learn, work, and connect are fundamental to our growth and development of a better Pine Hills, depending upon you and me, depending upon us. This is the call of action to everyone who's listening to join the council and work alongside the Pine Hills Community Council. I'm asking you again to go to our website, sign up tonight. Don't let tonight pass. Go to our website at pinehills.info and sign up. And let's make 2021 the best year ever for the Pine Hills Community Council and the Pine Hills community. Speaking of 2021, before I close, I must present to you, this is another housekeeping thing. I must present to you the Pine Hills Community Council 2021 slate of officers that the board of, that our board approved on November the 14th at our board meeting of the Pine Hills community. So pre-COVID, when we present the slate of officers for the following year, the Pine Hills Community Council members vote on this slate. This is post-COVID, so we can't vote. We can vote, but we're going to change the way that we do business. So where we're doing business, I'm going to present the slate to you of. This is the 2021 slate of the current officers. And it was approved that these current officers will hold these positions in 2021. Patricia Rump will continue to be president in 2021. Noah Martin would be vice president, first vice president in 2021. Pastor Joey Balser will be second vice president. Evangeline Richardson will be treasurer. Bettina Bush will be secretary. Sandra Fatme, Dennis Hall, Kenneth Dwyer will be trustees, and Myra Johnson will be director at large. This is the slate that we're presenting of our current officers. We're also presenting a slate tonight of upcoming nominees to serve on the board. The board had a majority vote to move forward with bringing on 4 new board members at large. And these are Dr. Latanya Nichols. Are you there? Wave at us. Thank you. She's here. She is a retired Orange County Public School administrator. She has a PhD in education. She's also is a grant writer. So we extend the invitation to her to come on board. J. Anthony Williams, he's here. I saw him earlier. Can you wave at us, J. Anthony? Okay. He's a young man that's a hardworking young man that wants to come on board and help us reach our goals in 2021. Dr. Isler, I saw him earlier. Are you still on? Okay, wave at us. Dr. Isler has a physical therapist business in the Pine Hills area on Silver Star Road. And so we're asking that you would help us bring him on board. And then also Melissa Service. So this is how we're gonna do this. Only members only can vote. So this is how we're gonna do this vote. The slate has been presented to you. You know who, if you're a member or not. I'm asking you to email yay or nay that you approve of the slate. Email it to info, hold on. This is how we go. Email it. This is our contact information. Email your information to info@pinehills.info. Only members only, and we would know if you're a member only because we could vote. They say, yes, I approve of the slate, or no, I do not approve of the slate. Email that to info@pinehills.info. Any questions? I'm gonna go back to the full screen so I can see everybody. See if we have any comments, anything in chat. Any comments? Okay, no. So that's, if you have any comments, then email that to info@pinehills.info so we can move forward with our slate for 2021 for our current board and the new members that's coming on. And one last thing, I cannot end this meeting tonight without recognizing our partners. You see who our partners are. You see our partners here. I thank our partners. Some of them may be on the line. Some of them may not be on the line tonight. But thank you, our partners. You see them all here. And before I close, I must ask you to join me in congratulating the board of directors who have made this success story possible. And additionally, to point out of our achievement, I would not be possible without the support of our partners. I just recognize our partners who has built with us our local, state, and federal officials, okay? And most of all, those achievements have not been possible without the continued support and inspiration of our Pine Hills resident and partners. To all of you, and because of you, let me end by assuring you that the state of our council is strong, that our future is bright, and thank you for being here tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your support. Again, if you're not a member of the Pine Hills Community Council, do that tonight. Sign on, go to info@pinehills.com and send us an email, or go to pinehills.info to our website and become a member of the council. Thank you. We have one announcement. We made an announcement earlier. I would like for, is Alexander still on it? From Evans High School is still on?
Yes, I'm still here.
Give your announcement again.
Yes, so we will be having a holiday food giveaway on Saturday, December 19th from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And we will continue until we run out of food. We will be providing food for the holidays to families, and it is a drive-through event. So you can come drive through and we'll put the food in the cart for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more announcement before we close out?
Yes, Patricia, this is Rashida Ryan Horton. I just want to say one thing. I was watching the Reestablishment Day ceremony proclamation on Orange TV. And I did want to say, while you were thanking Commissioner Siplin, I also want to give a thank you to Rosalind Clouden for spearheading the proclamation, writing of the proclamation. And I also wanted to thank Ken Dwyer and Bertina Bush for giving valuable historical information as to Pine Hills. So thank you to all of them also for really spearheading and, you know, writing that proclamation. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for making that clear. Any more announcements?
Hello, Ms. Trumpet.
Yes, Ms. Charlene.
This is Charlene from Senator Bracey's office. First off, on behalf of Senator Bracey, we would like to thank you all for re-electing him to another 4-year term to serve as District 11 State Senator up in Tallahassee. We have a couple of announcements and I'll be sending more details. We're working on organizing these events at this moment. On December the 12th, we'll be having another farm share food distribution. It will be at the Live Church with Ty Tribbett over on the Holy Land grounds. It will be from 10 a.m. to about 12:30 p.m. until all the food runs out. So that will be an upcoming event. On December the 19th, we're working on doing a toy giveaway in conjunction with Kappa Alpha Psi. It will be right off of, in the Lee Road area, right off of Anderson Street. I'll have that flyer prepared and I'll make sure that Miss Patricia gets it. But we will have it where you'll be able to register before the event, where a child will be able to receive an unwrapped toy. The child will have to be present in order to receive it, but they can come through and pick the toy of their choosing. They just have to pre-register. And we're also working on the event that's happening right in Pine Hills on January the 23rd. We have partnered with the Dedicated Senior Medical Center.
Oh, very good.
Opening up their facility right there off of Hiawassee Road. And we will be hosting a farm share distribution with them right there in that J-Mart parking lot on that day.
Wow.
So right now, in regards to that event, I'm putting out a call to action right now. So if you know of any individuals who would like to volunteer for that event on January the 23rd, please feel free to email Senator Bracey's office or call us at 407-297-2045 to sign up to volunteer. But we will be hosting a farm share distribution event partnering with Dedicated Senior Medical Center on January the 23rd.
Okay, and both of y'all, who's that?
Julian here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so I just wanted to remind the people, that the United Foundation of Central Florida and our partners, Dr. Bailey's Pharmacy, we have been doing food distributions every Thursday from 10 to 11:30 at 603 Silver Star Road, which is the Wire 98.5. We are now going on 6 weeks of food distributions. 6 months of food distributions. And so we will continue that. And then we will have a special food distribution in December for Christmas. and that will be on the Tuesday before Christmas, just as we did for Thanksgiving. So please look into the United Foundation of Central Florida on Facebook for more information, or you can go to our website at www.unitedfoundationcf.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Ms. Peggy from Val Dimmer's office, Ms. Val Dimmer's office, you want to speak?
Thank you so much, Patricia. And we're so thankful for all the work and the wonderful work that you and the board at the Pine Hills Community Council continue to do for the community. I did want to share with everyone that Congresswoman Demings will be having a telephone town hall. Given the current COVID environment, we just want to keep everyone safe, yet be able to share valuable information on available resources for our seniors. We'll have AARP, someone from Seniors First to talk about Meals on Wheels. Social Security will be on that line. So we're inviting everyone on Thursday, December 3rd from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. If they have signed up for the Congresswoman's newsletter, they'll get a robocall, or they can dial in themselves by dialing 855-962-1334. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Sandra, I see your hand is up. Sandra Fatney Hall. I see your hand is up. And you're on mute. Okay.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. No, I actually don't have my hand up, but thank you so much. I think Julian covered it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So for those that made an announcement, Charlene from the Senator's office and Ms. Alexandra from Evans, send me the flyer. The earlier the better. Then we can put together a newsletter and we can include that in our newsletter and get it out to the community. Get it on our Facebook page, get it on our website, and just get the word out. So again, we don't have any more announcements. Everything is clear. We will be back again in January, I think it's the 8th or 9th. And that will take place by installation of officer service. So any board members want to close out, want to say anything, or all minds are clear? Okay. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you. Go on, become a member for those that are not a member.
Thank you.
Good night. We all done? Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you,
Thank
Patricia.
you.
Bye-bye.
Night.